We have so many people in here.
Understood.
To hear how you're gonna rank.
So the whole idea of this is to attract private investment to the site.
Let these people tell us what they're gonna do and not do, so we can determine whether they're full of it or not.
Obviously, the room size is intimidating, we understand, but a lot of people have a lot to say, so let's move on.
Yeah, move on.
Let's get to it.
I'm here to listen. If you're here to listen, please be quiet so we can all listen to each other.
Well, tell us something what you're gonna do now.
I'm getting to it. We're still interested in doing the right thing, which is permitted by the FSGEIS. And it does not permit a cargo jetport. Not allowed under the FSGEIS that was adopted. So all the talk of a cargo jetport is just conversation.
Put it in writing.
It's in writing, it's right here.
No,
Okay?
sign a piece of paper that says that.
We signed a contract. We had attached to that contract
Don't believe you.
we signed a contract. It's November 2018 of November 18th, 19th of 2018. We signed the contract. Attached to that contract is an intended development plan.
Why the picture
And
of the airplanes?
we're going to go through that right now. Okay? Is everybody ready?
Talked about the fact, well, obviously, it is described in this application, these runways, they're going to be used for cargo. They're going to be used for warehouse. There's no other reason to use them, number one. Number two, you've talked about the fact that when Grumman was running this property, they were doing 19,000 flights a year, when this community was completely different, right? So, rather than playing more word games, if it's going to be used for cargo, whether you call it a cargo airport or not, it's still being used for cargo with airplanes on the runway. That's number one.
Excuse me, Andrew, can I just turn you around for a minute? You really, try to pose a question to us.
I have a question. I'm giving some
It
context.
sounds like you're just
I want to make
making,
sure people understand, Mr.
Yeah,
Caminado.
yeah, sure.
I want to make sure they understand.
This was our presentation.
I'm almost done.
This was our presentation.
I have two questions for you, right?
He's not asking your question.
In your September 22 IDA application, you say that Cummings Research Park in Alabama is perhaps the most apt comparable development for what this is planned for EPCAL. Cummings is 9.5 million square feet. It generates what appears to be tens of thousands of vehicle trips per day. So that's the traffic piece. Let's look at the code piece and the cover letter that one of your partners wrote as the cover letter to the IDA application. The cover letter states that that EPCAL will be transformative. I think we can all agree on that. But you go on to state as a fact, not as an opinion, that the proposal for EPCAL, and I quote, complies with the planned development zoning use district. Let's look at that ordinance. The PD zone ordinance prohibits, quote, any use which generates offensive noise, vibration, dust, smoke, gas, or other nuisances. Let's put the cargo jet noise to the side. Let's put the railroad spur noise to the side. Let's put the existing toxic plumes to the side. And
We
let's
didn't,
just
by the way,
focus
those were not as a result of us. And I do not want to put the rail to the side.
But
The rail is critical to get the trucks off the
I'm
road.
just talking for
The
purposes of.
rail is good,
Okay.
and we have companies that want to do rail, including agricultural companies that want to do rail.
Here are my
So don't dismiss rail.
Who are my, at what point, there's two primary roads that lead to EPCAL. At what point, in your view, a CAT, does increased traffic on those two roads constitute offensive noise, dust, smoke, gas, or other nuisance for that part of our community? What is the daily trip number that you believe would violate this aspect of the PD ordinance?
I'm gonna have to leave that to some expert. I'm not an expert in that, and I don't think you are either. So, I hope you agree with that.
Would it be 10,000 a day?
I'm not an expert on
A day.
traffic, I'm not an expert on noise, and I
some other nuisance.
I would rely upon somebody who is an expert, and that wouldn't be you.
No, it wouldn't be me, but how about some common sense, Mr. Frank?
Yeah, how about some common sense?
The supervisor today, Yvette Aguiar, says it is the worst contract she has ever encountered in her professional life as a realtor. Should be understood by the IDA, and it should be understood by the town board, that Riverhead does not want this project to go forward, period. I'm just saying thanks to everybody, and I think we just have to read the crowd. So now,
This is a project that has gone through a lot of study, and the town adopted 2 different redevelopment reuse studies. They adopted
I know, we heard all of that. I was just curious if you would vote for it, if you would, what's your word?
Oppose?
If you would oppose it, if you were still living in the town of
Would I
Riverhead.
oppose a cargo jetport? Yes.
Yeah, and so what are the runways for?
The runways exist.
I know that, I live right there. And I
live
don't
in
want
Timber Park,
cargo
so it's
jets
really
flying over my home 24/7. And
And you're not going to have
our
that.
property values are gonna plummet. And just would like to propose the idea that you would oppose this if you still lived in the town of Riverhead.
No, I'd be supportive of it because it's going to create jobs and an airport. And a property that was used as an airport that had jobs. It's going to replace those jobs. Yeah.
Because the people up here at the front don't understand it, they're a little hard of hearing. So how about we say it one more time?